Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you are amongst the 50% of the people watching this that have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, so toss me a buck or two in there if you are enjoying these streams. If not, just stick a dislike on it. And most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, there is a link in the info box below this video. With the page you are currently listening to muted, simply click that link to join the show and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number one, please do not swear. If you do, you will be ejected, and if you are, please do not try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You will be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. With that, I'm going to transition straight across to the Hangout, as we do have a guest who I'll introduce in a moment. But before I do, I would encourage anybody who is in the live stream to please share the show. Sharing is very important, as of course it increases the live audience, which in turn increases the chances of having a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. So let's raise the mic on the Hangout so I can make my first introduction to Make 4. How you doing, Make 4? Can you hear me?
Hey, what's up?
I can't hear you. I'm sure the audience have got an intro from you, but let's just sort that out for me. Bear with me.
Flobe.
Oh, there we go. Good to have you here, Make 4. Nice.
What's happening?
Everything's functioning as it should. Are you going to hang around till someone comes, or did you have a few things you wanted to say before we get our second guest?
Like my early rant? Nah, I think I'll take it easy today. I'm just going to wait for someone else.
That's fair enough. Good stuff. Okie dokie. Well, I'll do a few shout outs then in that case, if that's good by you. See if there's anybody in the chat room already.
I'll be back in like 5 or 10.
Cool. Okie dokie. I'll give you a shout if we do get a guest, or you'll hear yourself being summoned. We have Lord Baron von Oakley. Very pleased to have you here. Excellent name. This is going to put my inheritance in the super chat. Good for you, Baron. Shruminati, nice to have you here. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being in the live stream. Nick L, excellent to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here. Coke Hyena, thanks for being here. The Rig, nice to see you. Usually one of the first in. I'd normally be asking the Rig to test the live stream, but we're all good. Unless, of course, you do want to join, in which case, click the link in the info box below the video. As usual, make sure to mute your watch page. Alex Quant, good to have you here. Nice to see you, as always. OJ McBaggins, big shout out to you, my friend. Ranty, good to see you. Excellent presentation yesterday. Steve Anthony, nice to have you, my friend. Hopefully see some of your top quality trolling on the next few streams. We shall see. Dr. Strange Scientist, shout out to you, my friend. Thanks for being here. New Perspective, good to have you here as well. Just in case we do get joined by a second guest and the debate kicks off, I'm going to run straight through my links. So, if you are new to this channel, or you have not done so already, which is about 50% of the people watching this, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, so stick me a buck or two in there if you are enjoying these live debates. And if you would like to join the panel, simply mute the page you are currently listening to me on, then click the link in the info box below this video. That's about it. I'm going to transition across my photos. The next thing you hear from me will be pretty much exactly the same information unless we're joined by another guest, in which case you'll hear an introduction. Mercury Messenger 7 says, Sup Nathan? Sky, Moon, Stars. Usual stuff, Mercury Messenger 7. Thanks for being here. Good to see you. Mr. Grimm? Your volume is a bit low, he says. Yeah, I intentionally keep myself lower than the rest of the hangout, if I'm honest, Grim. I feel the people who are on the panel are far more important than me, so if I'm interrupting somebody, which I often do, I prefer that it's less likely to actually be successful, as strange as that may sound, so I deliberately keep my volume a little bit lower than everyone else's. The Afterlife now? Good to see you. Twitwit? Is this a what? Rerun? No, this is not a rerun, Twit. I heard Teen joined yesterday with a voice changer. Ute. Yes, correct. Ute did join with a... I'm not sure if he was playing an audio recording of someone else or it was just a voice changer. But yeah, I'm pretty sure if you check out 77, you'll hear Ute speaking. Either Ute or someone with Ute's avatar tends to join at the beginning of these shows so that it can snipe people. Steve Anthony is claiming not to be a troll, claiming that most people think he's trolling when actually he's being dead serious. Turbo Tim 129, good to have you here. Please share the show. Occasionally people in the chat will say, yeah, I share the show, I smashed it on Twitter. And I'll be like, you have no idea how grateful I am. Sharing really does help. Good to have you here, Morky Love. Nice to see you. Sleeping Warrior, good to see you. Excellent presentation yesterday, you and Ranty. Was, nice to see you as well. Pleased to have you here, Was. We can now relax now that you're here. Steve was also quite worried. But you're here now, which is the main thing. Be sure to share the show. Rune Thornton, thanks for being here. Nice to see you. Some kind words from Rune recently. I do appreciate them. Always happy, always globular, says Was. Good for you. Slow start, considering the last half a dozen shows have been immediately attended and immediately launched into a heated debate. It's been a while since I've had to sit here doing shout-outs, I must admit. Nice all the same. Good to have you here, Everett Anderson. Big thumbs up from you, thank you very much. Big shout out to all the people who've contributed to the super chat on this show. I'm not going to lie, it is the people who use the super chat that keep this show going. If it wasn't for super chat, I wouldn't be doing it. As mercenary as that may sound, it's absolutely true. And I'm not ashamed to admit it. These shows make very little in ad revenue, therefore the super chat does keep the show going. So big thanks to everybody who has smashed that super chat. Sleeping Warrior's waiting for other people to join. Presumably to contest what he showed yesterday. And if no one does, he says he'll come on to offer more evidence to bolster that what we were seeing was Ireland with a missing 2 miles of curvature. Bolstering bullshit more like, says Turbo Tim 129. Bit of a problem with that Turbo Tim. You see, the only claim I think that was made by the Globers, other than to just deny what they were seeing and saying, no, it's too vague, was to say that it was a piece of land actually on the island, on the Isle of Man, which was about 17 metres above sea level. Oh, is that a Pete Shea sock? Yeah, been joined by our first sniper. It's a battlefield in here. Get joined by snipers all the time. Pretty sure the Pete Shea sniper doesn't like flat earthers. Tends to be the case that the flat earthers get sniped off when that particular sniper joins. All are welcome. Would prefer if you didn't snipe people, but it's part of the show. Mercury Messenger says he's laughing at Sleeping Warrior. Maybe you could offer some evidence to refute what's been said, Mercury Messenger. Link is in the info box below this video. Back to keyboard warriors in the chat, it seems. Lots of ad hominem attacks after yesterday's show. Very little refuting it, though. I've got to admit. A couple of honest Globers saying, yeah, this is perplexing. Can't really explain this. A couple of them said that. Even the Rumpus, came on very honest and said, the maths really doesn't stack up for this. There should be a very big curve in the way. The Rumpus is really growing on me, I've got to admit. Alex Quant says, atmospheric conditions could explain it. Well, if you want to claim that refraction can bring something back from 2 miles behind the curve, you're free to put that view here. Hope you do.
What the hell? It's only me here still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
Alright.
Sooner I can go on mute, the better.
Wait, I'm still not ready. I still need about 5 minutes or so, I'm sorry.
That's alright. There's no rush. I don't mind. I'm just chatting to the chat. It's all good.
Yeah, nice.
No problem for me. But now you're sort of here. I'll bring the chat up so people can actually see what's going by in the chat room. See that I'm not making it up. Roger MC, good to have you here.
Alright, I'll be back soon.
No worries. See you in 5. Jeff, good to have you here. Jeff says, hey, Nate Dog. Hey to you too, Jeff. I'm surprised. I thought this chat would be absolutely riddled after yesterday's presentation by Ranty and Anthony. Obviously not. Obviously no one's got anything to say about it. Shocking. I'd have thought the Globers would be all over this. Been joined by Sleeping Warrior. Good to have you here, Sleeping Warrior.
I just thought I'd join just so that we'd give the pleasure of Pete Shea sock account to snipe me. Come on, Pete Shea sock account. Come and do your best. Snipe me. Go on, do it.
I don't think the snipers understand the score. I mean, a few people have said after yesterday's hangout in the comments, my God, Nathan's biased. It's like, I've never ever once claimed to be on the fence or anything other than a flat earther. So for all those people in the comments saying, oh my God, he's biased. Yeah, I'm absolutely biased. Yes, I've never denied that. Yes, I am biased. I do think the earth is flat. Absolutely.
Well, let me just say this. Although we've had that footage for like 5-6 weeks, we got it in the last week of October. Steve in chat was saying, why didn't you look to the right of Isle of Man? Well, we've spent 5 weeks looking to the right of Isle of Man. It was only Ranty yesterday that Luke left. And I don't know why Ranty did it. But I guess he just curiosity. But this all stemmed from Ranty going left because I'd caught enough of the land where it stopped to be able to say, right, that appears to be the end of Isle of Man. Is it the case? And Ranty looked at it and he started to form assumptions based on the evidence. And it seemed to be the case that it wasn't. So I'm not saying with absolute certainty that it's not, but it certainly appears to be evidentially supported that it's not the Isle of Man. And I agree with the evidence interpretation of Ranty. And between the two of us, we've challenged each other. And I've actually had a baller. I do have a couple of baller friends, say loosely, on Skype who have said, like, yeah, it does appear to be something that would need to be looked into a little bit more detail because it does appear to be what you're saying it is, but that's not admitting it, but they're saying that it seems to be credible. So I don't know. I guess a couple of days we need to wait and see what other people think.
I'm joined by Paul. How you doing, Paul? Good to have you here.
Yeah, I'm a bit crook tonight, so if I have to mute myself every now and then to cough, just excuse that. I'm not sure how long I'll last, but I'm not feeling real well tonight. Anyway, I've got a few things to share.
Excellent.
Morning, Paul.
Okay. Morning, Anthony. I might as well jump right in and share a screen that I've got and ask you to comment on it. Okay.
It's flat.
Here we go. Yeah, I disagree.
You're sharing it, Paul.
I'm sharing a screen now. I'd like you to have a look and tell me, can you see what I've got on the screen?
We can.
Okay. The composite image that you see above there is the one that you provided me in the link. For some reason, I didn't get the one that went all the way to the end. Let me just put my mouse. For some reason, the one that I got didn't go all the way to the end. It's been chopped off there. So I had to work with this one here. I've tried to make the image in the box there. I don't have very good skills in like making things that are transparent and overlaying them and stuff like that. I don't know how to do all that sort of stuff. But I've tried to make the image in the top there comparable in size to the image below. Would you agree that that image at the top there is fairly comparable in size to that image below there? I'm specifically looking at these two peaks here and matching up with these two peaks here, and the taper of the land being around about the same.
I'm with you at the beginning.
Does that seem reasonable? What's that?
I'm with you at the beginning part with identifying the two peaks. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So like I'm happy to make it bigger or smaller if you want me to, but that there, I've done nothing else to the image except make it what I think matches up. So anything else in the image, I think that these two peaks here seem to match up fairly well.
Yeah.
With the peaks that we've got there, and the taper of the land seems to match fairly consistently with what we see in the image below. Would you agree on that?
Certainly.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. I kind of missed most of yesterday's show, as you know. I only joined in the last 10 minutes, but
to be honest, Paul, I could tell with your entry.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right, because I went off on the wrong track because you'd already talked about all that stuff. But you were identifying Douglas in this image. I can't remember which frame you said Douglas was in this image here. Which frame did you say that Douglas was in that composite? It has to be image.
If it'd be okay, could I share my screen because I've got a better version of what you've got?
Can I just ask first? I just want to.
I can't see. It's too small.
Okay. Was it in the section, the first section? Was it in the second section, or was it in the third section? The town of Douglas in there. Was it right on the end,
think
or was
if
it
you're looking-
whereabouts was it?
I think it's been what you're looking at has been superseded. But in your one, I think it's the second one.
Okay, the second one there. Okay, well, that's interesting.
We've been joined, sorry to interrupt, Paul. We've been joined by Randy. Good to have you here.
Yep.
Hi.
Okay. Hi,
Good to see
Randy.
you.
Yep. And so what I've done is I've done a few lines here on the Google Earth image. They originate at St. Bees down in the corner here. And I've put them, the location that I made these lines converge on here was the same location that Anthony pointed out that he took the film from. I can confirm that for you in a moment if you want to. But I've put 5 lines, 5 red lines on here that you can see. The first red line to the very left here identifies the very edge, the very leftmost land that you would be able to see of the Isle of Man from Anthony's vantage point. The one on the right-hand side, obviously, identifies the rightmost edge of the Isle of Man from Anthony's vantage point that you would be able to see, if you could see it all. This line here represents the end of the tall part. You know how the Isle of Man on the right-hand side's got that much lower land on the right-hand side there.
Yeah, Ramsey.
That identifies the edge of that. That's where that bluff is. You know, the tall mountains go down, and then there's a plain, like a flatter area that goes out on this side here. Okay, and then I've identified two other points on here. Okay, and the 2 other points that I've identified on here are this line here points to the town of Douglas. Okay, so that there identifies where the town of Douglas is on the Isle of Man. It's here, okay, which kind of lines up with here on your composite map, right near the edge. Okay, this town here, all right, which lines up much more further in the middle of the Isle of Man towards the higher mountains, the higher area here, is a town, I've got to think, Ballacannel. That's where that red line lines up to.
Yeah,
okay.
we got that.
So having pointed out all these things, and having your agreement that this composite image here seems to line up or compare favourably in size with the image below.
I actually said I couldn't see it; it was too small. But I think it was in the second window, and it has been superseded since. That was what I said.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that this here does seem to compare fairly well with the image below, okay? And that the town of Douglas is right here. But I've got a bit more to say about the town of Douglas, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit the ground level view from here and show you just where I've taken all these things from. You can see that all of these points converge on that caravan point there. That's the point you identified in your very first video out about this, about where you took that from. So I don't think that's a big argument, a big point there. Do you agree that that's a reasonable observation point from there?
Yeah, it was the path a little bit behind it, on the edge, but it's fine. It's not going to make
somewhere
just
about.
Before you continue, I
yeah,
just want to say sorry, Paul. I keep
okay?
interrupting you, Paul. I'm
Show
really
you that
sorry,
all the
Paul.
lines
Bear with me just
do
one
in fact
second.
converge.
Paul, bear with me. I just want to introduce Grim. That was all. Sorry to. I know I keep interrupting you. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Hi, Grim. How you doing?
That's okay. Hi,
Can you
Grim.
hear us? Can you hear
Okay,
us?
so
Good to have you here, Grim. Nice to see you.
So I'm just saying that, like, I'm just showing that that's where I made all these lines come from. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out, and we're going to follow some of these lines along now. And there's some interesting things to be said about some of these lines. In particular, there's an interesting point to be made about the one that goes to the town of Douglas. Okay, so you can see, and I'm going to turn it a bit sideways here just to make it easier to see, other way. Okay, so we'll turn this around just to get the point across, and then I'll shift it along a bit here. So I've come across with that line.
Paul, when you've made your point,
I've come across with that line. Yeah, I just want to keep going. When I've made, I'll let Ranty answer when I've made my point. Okay, so this line here comes right in along the edge of the cliff and comes to here. So the majority of the town of Douglas, you would not be able to see.
I agree.
Because this here is a low-lying part here, and it'll be hidden behind the higher ground that's here that makes the cliffs. So you wouldn't be able to see a lot of the town of Douglas anyway. There's very few buildings here of Douglas that you would see. Okay, and you can also see that from your vantage point, there is more land to the left-hand side of that too. Okay, and then this is the other parts. That's the low-lying area. That's the bluff, and it's this little interesting town here, right in this area here, Ballacanal, that I think was the town that was identified in your images. I think that's the town that you're actually seeing in your image. And I'm putting it to you that given the screen I had before, that it's entirely in the realms of possibility that what you're seeing there is the Isle of Man, that all of it is the Isle of Man.
Let Ranty
That it's
respond.
quite possible that everything you're seeing there is the Isle of Man.
Let Ranty respond. He sent me a file this morning with a better detailed analysis than what you presented. Although, thanks for presenting something, but based on what you've just presented, Ranty has got the ideal, like he's got a precise and accurate interpretation. Ranty, do you want to present?
Earth to Ranty. Obviously making a
Are you
cup
there,
of tea.
Ranty?
He's on mute at the moment. I don't know if he realises.
All right, Grimv, do you want to present what you're showing, and I'll wake Ranty up.
You're on mute too, Grim. You're on mute, Grim.
Yes. Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Morning, pal.
Good.
All right. So, first off,
That wasn't me.
Maybe he'll be back.
Mm.
He's got several accounts, so if he's been sniped, he'll just join with a different account. Please don't snipe Grim, whoever's sniping, if you are. No need.
Right, all right. While Grim's making his way back and Ranty's not here, I'll share my screen. There we go.
Just literally got Ranty back. There we go.
Ranty, Paul just made a presentation, which, although you've probably not heard, I'm guessing you were away from your keyboard.
Yeah.
Paul's basically asked the question: is it possible that what we thought was what's that town called?
Douglas?
Yeah, Douglas. Is it possible that Douglas has been misidentified as Ballacalais, whatever it was called?
Ballacanal.
I might
Ballacanal.
present if that's all right.
Yeah, that's what I want you to do. Just you're going to present that picture you sent me about an hour ago, yeah?
Yeah, it's what I've been working on all morning, isn't it? So
Yeah, great. I'll go on mute.
okay, let me just get it ready. Okay. So, as everyone can see the screen that I'm looking at now. Can everyone see?
Yeah, we can, and straight off the bat, I'm pretty impressed. I was impressed with Paul's, but this is better.
Okay. Well, what we have is the terrain in the background that's all matched up. Now, you have to bear in mind ultimately that Google Earth works on the assumption that we already live on a ball. So the further you go away, this area down the bottom, is going to become a little more compressed, simply because it's already modelled on a ball. Anyway, the simple fact is that I've lined up the terrain and I've individually spotted individual homes along this ridge here. And I've included them on the Google Earth where I was able to capture them. And as you can see, the terrain matches up here. The houses match up along this ridge. Okay, this individual building here is here. It's slightly off on Google Earth, but as you can see, it is that building. It's here. And this building here is this building here. Anyway, so we come along, and basically the last line that is here is a direct line to Douglas. This line here is to Douglas. So when I come across here, we have all this extra land from there to here. Now, if I scroll in here also, you'll see what I see when I say that it gets compressed, because now you start to see that this ridge and these three buildings here and this ridge are just slightly off, but that's because Google Earth has warped it, yeah, and already stuck this on a ball. But basically, these three buildings, you can identify them. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There's the ridge. There's the ridge. Here's the buildings. Here's another ridge that's very prominent here. Here's the individual buildings along this ridge. So as you can see, this is pretty clear as what we're looking at. This is a direct line to Douglas. What I've been working on this morning. So we're looking at from this distance here all the way over to where my cursor is now of extra land.
Okay, I'd like to respond to that.
Sure, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, just give me a moment. I've got to reorient my screen because I exited the view that I was in. I just want to get prepared for this. You're calling it all that extra land. Okay, let me just share my screen again.
Okay, I'll stop sharing mine.
Okay, yep, thanks. Okay, I've got my screen shared again now. Okay, so you're making this claim of having all this extra land. Now, I've already shown that these red lines converge on the point that Anthony was at. And what we're interested in here is the angular distance, right? The, I guess you call it the angle of view of all of these points, all right? You can see that this is the very right-hand edge of the Isle of Man. I'm just going to turn it around a little bit so it's a bit easier. No, the other way. A little bit easier to sort of visualize what's going on here. I keep on getting the wrong mouse on the wrong screen. Okay, so you've got the right-hand edge of the Isle of Man here. You've got the bluff there, and you've got this Balacanal here. You've got Douglas there, and then you've got this here is the very leftmost edge of the Isle of Man that you would be able to see. And you can clearly see that although it doesn't seem like much land on the map, you can clearly see that the angle of view of here is quite significant compared to some of the other angles of view here.
Okay, can I just respond?
So what you're looking at, you can actually see that there is a significant angle there. Now, all the extra land that you've put there, if you measure out all that extra land, the length of that from Douglas to the end, and then measure it from Douglas to the other end of the video that you've got, I'd be interested to see how much is all that extra land in terms of the field of view.
Okay, so if
just
you're
before
on
you
Google Earth
respond,
now,
Ranty, sorry to interrupt. Just before you respond, I've been joined. Sorry, guys, bear with me. Bear with me. Been joined by Physics Warrior. How are you doing, Physics?
Hi, Nathan.
Good to have you here. Pleasure to
Hi,
see
Physics.
you.
So what I would like you to do, Ranty, is to measure from the Douglas to the leftmost edge of the land on your composite. It has to be image, and then measure from Douglas to the very right-hand edge of your image. And I would like to know what those distances are and what those ratios are.
okay,
That's what I would like to see. Okay.
So you see that little peninsula that's sticking out on the Isle of Man, where you've got the outermost on the left, the far left.
Uh-huh.
If you could just
I know what you want.
there,
This one here. Yep, sure.
If you could just scroll in there to the far left, and if you could tell me what the elevation is of that particular landmass,
I know the elevation's not. I know that the elevation's not very high on that. But
could
the
you
point
tell me
is
what
that
it is, though?
What?
Would you be able to tell me what that is? The elevation?
Yeah, I'm just getting it up. I don't know.
I think if you
Alright,
just
so
hover
let
over,
me
if you just hover over it in the bottom right hand corner, it'll say
well, what I
ELEV.
can do is I can actually put a path in here and show what the elevation is. Let me just delete that last one there. Okay, so along there we've got the elevation. The highest elevation there is around about 20 meters.
Okay, so would you also measure the distance from there to the place that was the filming location, please?
What's that?
From the place that it was filmed. I think it's about 50 miles.
Oh no, it's nowhere. I don't think it's 50 miles,
Okay,
but
well,
I can measure that. Yeah.
Yeah, if you could do
Sure.
that for me.
Okay. So you want to go from here, and you want to go all the way out. Into is that good enough?
That's good enough, yeah. How many miles is that?
Right. It says 50 miles, 50.88.
So, if
Okay.
you're suggesting that we can see for 50 miles down to an elevation of 20 meters, does that conform to the ball Earth model?
I beg your pardon?
So, if you're suggesting that the landmass that I've captured on this on the image is 20 meters in elevation, and it's at 50 miles, would you say that conforms with the ball Earth model?
But it wouldn't take much refraction.
Sorry?
Let's just hear Paul's answer. Hold on, guys.
It doesn't take much refraction to be able to account for that.
Okay, so let me just do the calculator height on that then, and let's just put that claim to the test.
Ranty, I've done it. It's
refracted hidden is 1,000 feet. So we're seeing basically 70 feet of elevation on that landmass, and refracted hidden should be 1,000 feet. So if it is in effect actually that particular landmass, where's the 900 feet of hidden?
I'll have to confirm that myself, those calculations, in a moment. I'm just looking at something else now.
Can somebody bring up those
to,
calculations on screen so we can see them actually done live? Did you say you'd done it already, Sleeping Warrior?
Yeah. If we're going to go with Imperial, it's 50 miles at 35 feet. You can add order. We'll do what Miles wants. Put 50 feet in, right? It was actually 35, and you take the tide off. You don't add the tide to it, Miles. You made a mistake. However, we'll give it 50. Well, no. Should we go 35 feet?
Do whatever.
Just do it with the accurate figures. If it's 35, do it with 35.
It's in feet. It is refracted hidden 1,055 feet, and in metric, it's 321 meters. And if Paul's arguing that the land at, did you say it was 12 meters?
20 meters.
That's still like 300 meters short, Paul.
So do you want to ask him the question? Sorry, just want to ask him the question one more time, Ranty.
Yes. Yes. So if you're asserting that the landmass to the left-hand side of Douglas is perhaps the farmost of the Isle of Man, which is an elevation of 20 meters, the distance to that is 50 miles, which is over 1,000 feet of refracted hidden. So where's the missing 950 feet? Because you said it would only take a small amount of refraction to increase something that's just 60 feet in height to a height of over 1,000 feet.
Paul appears to be distracted.
Okay. Yeah, I am distracted because at the moment I've just changed and I've had a look. Now, ignoring that little bit there that sticks out, I've now done another path across here, which is still to the left of Douglas, which
Would
is
you put
here.
a red line in?
Okay, still to the left of Douglas. All right, I can actually go a bit further out. You can see that that's still to the left of Douglas, and I'm going to put my thing along here, and you can see that this high elevation, which is now 90 odd meters,
okay,
and it's still to the left of Douglas.
So what about the 200 meters
so
of missing curvature then, Paul? What about the 200 meters of missing curvature? 200 meters missing.
200 meters. I didn't see the calculation. Sorry. Refraction can account for those things.
No,
but
it
what I'm
can't.
putting to you,
We've just
is that it's
stated this.
entirely-
Sorry, Paul. Just going to have to interject there. No, it does not account for that. You are absolutely incorrect.
Nowhere near, Paul. And even if what you're saying is correct with the land that's to the left of Douglas, that means it would be immediately to the left of Douglas. That doesn't account for all the rest of the land to the far
Exactly.
left of Douglas.
Exactly.
All that land, as Paul
I
put
would
it.
like-
All that land. So I'm going to ask it a third time, Paul, just for the benefit of the audience. We now have, according to Paul, 200 metres of missing curvature. Where is that curvature, Paul?
200 metres of missing curvature.
That's correct. Would you like me to say it
I'm
again?
not sure
That's
that's
200 metres of missing curve. Please, can you tell me where that curve is? Where's the curvature, Paul?
I have to do a bit more investigation on that, but I would like Ranty to answer the question that I asked earlier.
I'd prefer
want to
you
know-
told us where the curve is, as that's pretty much the point of this debate, Paul.
And the extra land.
But the point of my question was that extra land is in fact the Isle of Man.
Yes, so we've conceded that, Paul. Paul, you're not seeming to listen. We've conceded that, Paul, and we're now asking where the 200 metres of missing curvature is on that land.
Well, I'm telling you that refraction can account for that.
And we've already told you twice that it cannot.
How? Why can it not?
Because it's
Okay,
too
we'll
much.
bring up the maths again for you. Should we bring up the maths and show him? Somebody,
Yeah.
perhaps Sleeping Warrior, can show him.
Ranty, you've got it on screen. You sure?
Yeah, sure, yeah. By the way, Paul, if you
How refraction cannot cover that. I'm just trying to figure that out.
We're going to show you. No problem.
Oh, okay.
share screen.
But even if we concede that refraction may be able to, it still doesn't account for all the extra land that's far left of the shot. The evidence, not Google Maps, the actual evidence.
Okay, so we have a distance of 50 miles, we have a viewer height of 35 feet, and we have refracted
No.
of
No,
1,000.
No. Didn't we agree that the viewer height was 60 feet?
No,
So,
it's
should we
measured
put
at
it as
35, Paul.
35?
That's some nonsense that Miles introduced. Some complete nonsense that he just introduced. Ad hoc
Yeah,
explanation.
it's completely wrong.
Complete
by the
rubbish.
way.
But, I mean, if you want us to put 60 feet in just to gish gallop and fudge the figures to make it work on your ball, we can do that for you if you wish.
Do it at 60 feet.
That's 900 feet. So if I put it in metric, that's 275 meters.
Do you want to make it 100 feet, Paul, just in case?
Should we do it in?
Let's ask Paul, how much
Should
would
we
you
put it
like us to fudge
150
the...
feet?
How much... Hold on, Ranty. How much would Paul like us to fudge these figures? How much do you want us to fudge them, Paul?
And obviously the point is
No, I
that
don't want to touch them at all.
whatever value that we increase the observer height to,
Let's put 35 in, Ranty, as that's what it was.
and the other thing is by changing the observer height, we're actually looking behind the curve that isn't there.
Sorry, just want to keep on track just for Grim and Paul. Can you see what's on screen?
And that's with refracted hidden, by the way. This is without refracted hidden.
Sorry, what's that in metric?
Yes, I can see what's there, but I would still like to go back to the distances
I'm
between.
sure you would, Paul,
Douglas
but I'm
and
going to
the
keep you on track anyway, now that we've actually got that... Sorry, pop it back on screen, Ranty, just so you can see that. You're claiming that land mass, yeah, can be brought back by refraction. So you're claiming it's 200
First off,
metres as
let's
the
make
land
sure
is
you're
100.
using the line of sight.
Hold on, Grim. You've asked for clarity. I'm giving it
correctly.
you. I'm giving you clarity, Grim. You've asked for it. That was your first question. So now I'm telling you, it cannot be brought back by refraction. Do you
agree.
understand?
Or
Hang
not?
on,
I actually agree with Paul on one point.
Okay.
I want Ranty to identify the extremity of Isle of Man on the evidence, because he did ask that before, and I asked Ranty to do it, and it's not been done, and I agree. Ranty, could you identify it on the evidence, the extremity of the Isle of Man?
Let's see. Well, if we go across here, we know that that is a direct line of sight to Douglas.
Yeah,
He
so
is
you'd have to
He's
cross.
suggesting now that originally it was about here was the edge of the Isle of Man. Now he says that basically if you go to here, a little bit nearer, you can get a higher elevation, but still...
No, I want you to go right to the edge that you can see there.
Well, if I pull across and I scroll right into here, we can see that's where we captured here. And that is Douglas down here.
Paul, would you
I
concede
mean,
that point?
the angle...
I want
if you
I want
look
you
at
to
the
measure that
distance,
distance.
okay, well, if you look at this
I want
ridge,
you to measure the distance between that end and Douglas. And then I also want you to measure the distance from Douglas to the other end of your composite image.
All right, Ranty, what
To
is
another
asking you to
known
do?
point on that composite. That's what I want to do.
Put one of those, Ranty, why don't you put one of those pillars onto the Google image and show where the extremity of Isle of Man actually stops? You know, one of those columns.
No, I want it on your composite image. I want the measurement from your composite image. I want the measurement from the composite image, what you're claiming to be the end there, the end of the land that you see.
Yeah.
Okay. I want it from the end of the land you see to Douglas. I want that measurement. Okay. So on your composite image. So is that leftmost, there's the ruler at the edge of the land you can see in your image.
okay, bear with me.
I actually think you'd be better with a tower to the sky.
Okay, so from this location, I'm just identifying locations. So one, Douglas is at 14. That's at, is that right? Is that in the same place? Yeah, okay, right. Let me go to my Google Earth. So we want the third one, which is this one. If I put a line of sight in for here, and then I'll show you where it is. Where are we? Douglas. Here we go, down here. Just put that in there. I need 3 of these. That's the first one.
No, I think you're misunderstanding what I'm asking, Ranty.
No,
what
I
I'm
understand
asking,
exactly what
Ranty,
you're asking. I've just done it. I'm doing it on a ruler now. So
Yeah, he is. He's getting out. I realise what he's doing.
now what I need to do is put one more in here.
On the far left of the Isle of Man.
And I need to go to the left. And I need to increase it almost the same amount, but ever so slightly less.
On the far left of the Isle of Man, Ranty.
Let me move that out of the way. Move that out of the way so I can see what I'm doing. Just left.
No, he wants it on the tip of the Isle of Man.
Yeah, I know what he's asking, but what I've done here is
I'm not asking you to do this on Google Earth.
Yeah, this is what I've done it on here, on this image here. This overlay complete. I've put a ruler in. Basically, I know where this building is, and I know where this ridge is, and I know where Douglas is on here, and I'm able to see how far I can go across.
Yeah, so I want you. Yeah, I want you to measure from the end there, is the end of the ruler at the end of the land you can see.
Yep.
On the composite image, yep. So I want you to give me the measurement to Douglas from the ruler now.
It's here.
So what does the ruler read?
It reads 13.5.
Yeah, that's right.
13.5.
13.5.
Yep.
Now, without changing the size of that ruler, what I want you to do is shift the ruler so that the end of it lines up on Douglas.
Left or right? This way?
Well, you're going to have to move the ruler right. Yeah, that's right. All right. So that's one ruler length, right? I want you to keep on going to the right hand. Keep on going to the right. I want you to measure all the way now.
Well, why don't you just stretch the ruler across the whole width?
Well, yeah, I can do that.
Huh?
Stretch the ruler across the whole of what you see and then do the
I'm sorry, but is there actually a point to this?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Hang on.
So there we go.
All the way to the left of the composite image that you can see.
This is the left-hand part. This is the left-hand part of the composite.
You know that? Huh?
Right, I've been working on the left-hand side of the composite image today.
I don't have it.
I do have it somewhere, but I don't have it on this image. I haven't got it with all these markings of individual buildings put in and ridges.
Oh, that's a pity, because that's what I wanted to know. I wanted to know what the measurement from Douglas was to that, the part where Anthony claims in his video that this is where the Isle of Man stops. I know it doesn't stop there, but that's the part that I want to go to. That's the part that I want to measure to.
Yeah, and I agree with Paul. I want that measuring too.
Right. Okay. So if I know, let's say, for instance, I know what this building is here, right? And I know that I know that's a direct line of sight to Douglas, right? So if I know the distances on that and I've put them on the Google Earth, these two lines, that line there, the red line here, and this red line here, match up to these two buildings here, that one there and this one here, right?
What we need is a composite image.
Matches. So if I was to, so when I do this on Google Earth now, and I put the third line in, which is to the extremity of what I can see over here, what you actually find is that this line of sight is to here.
Ranty, do what you ask. Do what you ask.
Just a suggestion, Randy. Can you expand out so that your composite image still sits over the Isle of Man and it still matches the Isle of Man, but you can actually see the bluff at the other right-hand edge of the Isle of Man, and then you can use the raw to measure to there. You get what I mean? I understand you've only got the left-hand part, but can you expand out your image so that the Isle of Man goes beyond your composite image, and then from the viewpoint there? The thing I'm after is I'm after the percentage that you can see from Douglas to the left that you can see to the right. That's what I'm after. I'm after that ratio.
Didn't we already establish it was 1/5?
No.
No, I don't think we did either.
I mean, that's not so far off, to be fair. I mean, it just basically just goes to show exactly that I know that building lines up with this building there. I know that this building lines up with this line.
But this is not what I'm wanting. I'm wanting to actually see the ground view.
You're asking. Okay. I think you're gish-gashing now because you know that this line here, this yellow line.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. You know this yellow line here is the exact extremity that I've done it on two separate things. I've done it already on in Paint, and I've already overlaid it in Google Earth. So you know that this is exactly as far as we're seeing. So I mean, I feel like I'm running around.
Wait a minute! You just wait a minute. I just completely destroyed this whole argument on accident, just reading something else. So anyway, you're measuring along Google Earth, which is already adding the curvature into the distance, dummies.
Yeah, we know that, Grim. We've conceded it about 10 times on this show. Thanks for that. Very useful.
Well, I mean, we'll work with that already then.
Yeah, we've
go back to that.
Sorry, did you hear what I just said, Grim? Sorry, Grim. I've got to shut you up. Did you hear what I just said to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, then game over, right? Why are you still walking around?
Sorry, is that a yes or a no, Grim? Did you hear what I just said to you or not, Grim? Did you hear what I just said to you?
People through all this stuff when you know you lost the argument already.
We've literally conceded this about 10 times, Grim.
I want to see a complete composite. It has to be image from left to right.
Equinox works on a sphere.
And I want to identify Douglas.
I'll show you again. We know the vernal equinox is something that we all have to deal with, right, Nathan?
Grim, what you're doing is just distracting from the issue at hand.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. That's exactly what you're doing.
Directly about the issue.
This is not about the vernal equinox. That's not what's being discussed. Sorry, Grim. Really sorry.
Okay, how do you subtract the curvature from the distance then to get your correct formula to start applying it to this argument?
We're looking at photos. That's what we're doing.
Huh. So you have to admit
curvature.
Curvature, wouldn't you?
Do you have one of the composite images that you can pull up on screen that you can show from left to right and just put point out where Douglas is on that image?
He's done that though.
On the complete, I've just already told you that yesterday I did a complete composite from left to right, and then this morning for the last 3 hours I've spent going from the left-hand portion identifying individual buildings. I haven't included it as into the right-hand side yet, so I don't have that to hand. But it doesn't. It's irrelevant if you have individual buildings marked out on a complete half of the island. It's irrelevant that you need to see the other half. Not that I won't.
It's not irrelevant because
right now that I don't have that information. Because I think you're just distracting from the evidence at hand.
I'm not. What I'm doing, what I'm trying to do, is to get an accurate. What I'm trying to do is to get an accurate ratio from Douglas to the left-hand side to the right-hand side. I'm trying to get an accurate measurement of that. That's
Right.
what I'm trying to do.
Ranty, I agree
I'm not
with
trying
Paul.
to be dishonest. I'm not trying to distract. I just simply want information.
Right, Ranty,
That's all I want.
I agree with
Okay.
Paul. But Paul's not listening to the point that you've just said, that the piece that he's asking for doesn't exist in this composite. But what you can do is you can identify the extremity of the Isle of Man on both the composite from Google and on the evidence presented. So what I want you to do, and I'm sure Paul will agree, is identify the furthest point of Isle of Man on Google and then match it with the evidence and then see how much land is beyond that on the left. If we do that, I think Paul will agree and concede that that's the way forward.
Okay.
Do you agree, Paul?
See if I can.
Yeah. See, I don't want to work. I don't want to work with the Google image at the moment. I would like to work with what you actually saw, the evidence that you actually collected, Anthony. That's what I want to work with, because that's your evidence. That's your claim.
But we know where
I want to actually see.
But we can.
But I want to actually see on the composite. It has to be image. I want to see where Douglas is on that. I want to see to the left and I want to see to the right, and I want those measurements. That's what I want. I want that accurate data to allow me to move forward and make.
Surely it's not
make
the
an
measurement
assertion.
you want. Surely it's you want to see where the end of Isle of Man stops, which we can do.
I want to know the ratio. I do. I want to know the ratio
how far it is
from
away
Douglas to
from
the
the
left
observer too.
and Douglas to the right. That's what I want to know.
But you're asking for a really difficult piece of evidence that we
I
can
mean,
get.
I can go and pull up.
Right.
I can go and pull up the composite image myself
I
and get
have
you
it.
to point. No, but I don't have a complete composite image. I've got one that's chopped off on the
Right,
right
Paul,
hand side.
I have it. It's right. I've got it. I'm going to show it now. Just bear with me.
Thank you.
Share screens. Okay, so here's the complete composite.
Yeah. Okay. So, can you put can you put some sort of line or something at each end, and also a line where Douglas is, and then measure those ratios?
Okay.
Is that possible?
Should I put a ruler in? Would that be easier?
Yeah, that's fine. You can put a ruler in if you like. All I'm after is the measurement, the total distance. You can do one of two things. Give me the total width of the island, right, from left to right, from that bluff to the very left-hand edge, if you like. All right, from the bluff is fine.
From the far right here, all the way across.
Yeah, that's the bluff. Now, I know that that's not the very right-hand edge of the Isle of Man, but it's a very distinct point. I know that that's the bluff that transitions to the lower land. Okay, so that's fine. Right, all the way to, and you've taken that from the very left-hand edge.
Let me turn it over just so that we know what's what. Okay.
Yep, sure.
So now.
So line up the 0 on the left-hand edge to the edge of the land that you can see on your composite image.
Yeah. So what we are looking at on the left-hand side, if I go across a bit more.
Yep.
Go across to the 30. So I need to line it up with the 30, which is just there. Okay.
Okay, so that's the bluff. You're lining up the bluff. Yeah, that's fine.
And then I need to extend it to the full extremity of the. It needs to be a bit more than that as well. It's a tiny bit more, so just bear with me. I need to. All right.
So you're deliberately making the distance from end to end 30. Oh, that's fine.
That's fine, yeah. Yep. So that then I can say, okay, well, here is where Douglas is.
So you've made the total distance 30.
Yeah, so let me look at my overlay complete, which is this one. That's there. That's just past that part there. Goes down, drops down. Right, okay.
Paul, is this going to give you a definitive answer so that you'll be able to say either yes or no at the end of it?
Well, I'll have to do some calculations, but this is what I want. I want the numbers that allow me to do that. Okay.
I'm more empirical by nature. I prefer to see the extremity of the Isle of Man identified, and then you can say anything beyond that is not Isle of Man. I'm not sure that mathematics is the correct standard of
So, Randy,
evidence.
that's where Douglas is on the image, is it?
Yeah, just before the 4.
Okay.
So from the far right to the far left. Yeah.
Is
fact,
30.
It actually extends a little bit further than that. So I'm actually going to just nudge it, just say dead on 4, just for instance, because I know that this landmass just extends further than 30. So if we say that the total length that I've captured from A to Z is 30, and Douglas sits at the 4 mark.
Sits at the 4 mark. Thank you. That's the information I was after. I just want to know that ratio, okay? So now I can go away and think you guys might want to talk about something else for a bit while I do some investigation. I'm not going to give you an answer in 10 seconds.
Okay, that's fine.
Because
Paul, put yourself on mute. Put yourself on mute, Paul. Come back to us when you're ready. Ranty, would you do me the favour of identifying on Google Earth where Isle of Man stops, and then plot it on the actual evidence to show where the Isle of Man physically stops?
Before you do, I'm going to be lowering the mic on you all and just doing a few links as we're coming up on 1 hour of this live stream. So if you are new to this channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, so toss me a buck or two in there if you're enjoying these debates. And if you would like to join the discussion, there is a link in the info box below this video. With the page you are currently listening to muted, simply click that link to join the show and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1, please do not swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please do not try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please share the show on social media as it increases the live audience, which in turn increases the likelihood of a more diverse panel. One last time, if you are new to this channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate.
Ranty, could you now get that point and stick it on the ruler and identify, if you can, where that point sits on the ruler? I don't know if you'll be able to do that, but that's what I would say is the better, more accurate way.
Okay. I believe this line here that I've already put in, this line, is the cut-off point from what we've actually seen on the, that's where the mountain range starts. So let's get a screenshot of that.
Let's always take a reminder at the simpler things too that still haven't been proven incorrect,
like curvature,
the sun, the moon.
The position is, Grim, we've got 2 poisons to pick from. It's either we can see a landmass at the end of the Isle of Man, in which case you have 200 meters of missing curvature to account for, or you're seeing the
map, right? Yeah.
You're seeing Southern Island.
If you're not looking, if you're not adding the refraction into the equation.
I know we've done all that, Grim. You're just not keeping up. I'm sorry, Grim. We've done all that. You're not keeping up. 200 meters
if you're modeling your line of sight at horizon line improperly, then you're going to have problems with your math, which seems to be a very common flat Earth mistake these days.
That's fascinating. Right here so anyway, Grim, as I say, you've got 2 poisons to pick from. 200 meters of missing curvature on the Isle of Man, or 2 miles of missing curvature on Southern Island. You pick your poison.
Yes. Excuse me?
Pick your poison. 200 meters missing curvature on the Isle of Man, or 2 miles of missing curvature on Southern Island. That's the choice. There's no third option here.
Sure. You're not even listening to me, are you, Nathan?
It's irrelevant. The points you're making.
Let's hear Grim gish gallop and talk nonsense for a bit.
If you're not using the 8-inch square drop per mile formula correctly, isn't that relevant?
We're using your maths.
Yeah, but from the line of sight, not the horizontal line. So no wonder you're off by so much. And then how far would you, because that doesn't work for over 100 miles, right? You're basically not going just down.
We're just doing your maths, dude.
Again, what about observations?
Well, we're
Math
trying to
doesn't
do
dictate the universe. Remember, we
We're
both
trying to do
agree on
observations.
that, don't we? Math doesn't dictate the universe. I don't believe in black holes just because math says black holes. I don't believe in black
I
holes.
agree. Maths doesn't. That's why I wanted a more empirical
Right.
approach to the
But
request.
observations do, don't they?
Yeah, that's what we're looking at. Photos, Grim. Photos. That's what we're doing. Observations, studying them. That's what we're doing.
Hey, you're looking at anomalous photos,
Why is it anomalous?
not everyday photos. Photos where it doesn't happen every day that the mountains are that high from that location. At
I
that height.
suggest we just let Grim get tuckered out. Just let him.
Am I wrong or am I right?
You're right, Grim. You're right.
Okay. So you're using an extreme situation, which we would call anomalous or phenomena,
Cool.
right?
Yeah, you're so right, Grim. You're so right.
I'm asking.
Okay, I'm ready.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Thank the
I think
Lord.
Ranty- I think Ranty's
Just
on
asking if
board.
you
Paul's
used the
ready.
formula
Thank God.
correctly. Are you using the horizontal
ready.
line or the line of sight?
Dude, let Paul speak.
I'm asking
Yes,
a good.
I
You're
am
screen
ready.
sharing, Paul. Whatever you want. Your mic's all yours.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I've done some calculations. Now, Ranty confirmed that the total distance from the bluff to the very left-hand edge of the land that he could see in his composite, it has to be image, was 30. And he confirmed that the distance from Douglas to the left-hand edge was 4. If you do that as a ratio, that turns out to be 7.5 to 1. I think everyone agrees, whether it's globe math or flat earth math or whatever, that 30 divided by 4 is 7.5. 7.5 to 1, right? Okay. Now, what I've done is I've gone and put, because this is the easiest way to do this, is I've gone and put a circle. Oh, well, there was a circle. I can put another one back. I don't want that circle. I want a circle that goes from here, and I want a specific width. I want the width of that actual box. See the little marker box? I'm making my circle so that if I make the circle smaller, the width of that box is greater than the angle between those two lines. What I'm specifically trying to do is get the width of that box exactly the same as the angle width between those two leftmost red lines. Would you agree that that's a fairly good match there? So if I put the box in there, that's a fairly good match to the width between those lines. Yeah,
I do, but I don't. Can you explain again? Call me stupid. I just don't understand the principle of what you're doing. Can you explain it again? I'm really
what
sorry.
I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get a known measure distance. All right, the little box that I'm waving around now, the marker, the width of that matches nicely between the width of those two red lines that are right next to them. All right, so I'm trying to get the same width there. Would you agree that that's around about right?
Well, could you just
That's
prove
the
it?
angular side.
Could you prove it?
Well,
though?
that's the well. You can see. Well, you can
Yeah,
see
no,
on the
but when you
screen
get-
there that
when you go over a big distance, Paul, a little variation here makes a big difference on the other side.
well, this is just an approximate thing. But would you agree that that is a reasonable claim to make? That seems to be around about the same width.
It depends on what
Okay.
point you're going to make next, but I would say not. I would want it.
Do a more accurate measurement. I can do a more accurate measurement, but this is just to show you the possibility.
Give me
okay?
10 seconds,
Okay,
Paul. I've got it
let's-
8
we
foot
can do
across
more
in front of me.
accurate measurements if you like.
Paul, if you give me 10
Okay.
seconds,
All
I've got
I
it 8
need to
foot
do-
in front of me. I'll just have a look, a very, very good eyeball of it. Just literally give me 10 seconds.
Well,
Yep,
to be
sure.
honest, whilst he's having his 10 seconds, I would say I'd like to know the bearing value of one side, the bearing value of the other side, and then pick the point in the middle and then put the line to it. That's what I would say.
It's spot on within
Okay,
1
and
pixel. It's
Paul,
spot
would
on.
you also confirm if you look at my
is it good,
ruler?
Nathan?
It's spot on within 1 pixel.
Is it good, Nathan?
Good. Yes. For what
Good,
you're proposing,
Right,
I don't
this
still
is
understand what you're
approximate.
doing, but yes, it's
We
good.
can do okay. Thank you. Right, what I'm now going to do, and I'm going to move that. All right, so I've got one box there. Now you pull me up if you think that I'm not being honest about where I'm putting these and counting them, because I'm going to try and put my finger on the screen and line up the boxes as we go across, and I want to keep count. So that's one there. All right, now I'm going to move that box across. Would you agree that that seems to be a reasonable position to put the next box there?
No, I think
Two.
I think it's very inaccurate.
Me too.
Just reasonable. I want to just do a reasonable thing. So what I'm doing, I don't know of another way. I don't know how to pull up a protractor to actually measure. So that there would be 1. That's around about 2. That's around about 3. That's around about 4. That's around about 5. That's around about 6.
No, I don't agree.
And that's around about
Okay, well,
7.
I'm interested to see where this is going.
Right?
Yeah, but it's
And that
I'm not happy with the accuracy of the estimation. Though.
Let's
That's my
humour
only
him.
concern.
Well,
well, we need the more
Let's just
accurate
humour
way
him
to
anyway.
explain. I don't know.
Let's just
It's
humour him.
similar to what
Alright,
I've just done.
so
Last one made up for what he lost on the second time.
what this is showing is that these do lie in the ratio of approximately 1 to about 7 to 7.5 in there. That red line, remember, goes to the bluff. So it's confirming that the land we see to the left of Douglas matches with the amount of land that we would expect to see.
Can you expand
given that ratio?
Can you expand the circle, please?
Yeah, I can expand the circle. I can make it another circle.
So that we can see where this line goes to.
Which one? What?
We'll just keep scrolling out and make the
So
circle massive. There we go.
Huh?
Yeah, keep going. Because you need to show where this...
Yeah, I have to do a new circle, all right? So what I'll do is I'll just do a new circle. Every time I click, it does a new circle. So I'll put it back here, and you want me to do a bigger circle.
Okay. Well, whilst you're doing that, could I show you my screen and see whether or not you agree with what I'm going to show you?
Yeah, because
sorry about the coughing.
Ranty was presenting before the phone call, and I'd like to see him finish because he was nearly finished.
Yeah. So what I've done is
hold on, Ranty. Let's just let Paul get to the very end. When Paul's happy and says he's done, I'll move over to you. We've got plenty of time. We've got 50 minutes. So just when Paul says I'm done, then I'll put it on you if that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So now that we've done a bigger circle, it becomes easier to actually do a line and measure a distance. Okay. So what I'm going to do, in fact, I can. No, this is probably big enough to do this in. Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this circle so it doesn't disappear on me, and I'll just call it circle. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll then measure a line from there to, it's still on circle, sorry. Let me get it back to line. Just ignore that circle. I want to go a line from there, and I want to go all the way across to there, okay? Now, this is going to be approximate. It's going to have a little bit of error because of that lump there, but that's not going to be much. I'll give you that. That's fine, okay? So that's to the bluff. That's the point I asked him to measure to. And if I click that, it says a distance measure of 8.57. Okay, so I'm just going to write that down, 8.57. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another one I'm going to shift that point back to where Douglas is, right there. Okay, and now it reads 1.17. All right, so that reads 1.17. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my calculator. You guys can do it for yourself if you like. All right, so I'm going to use the calculator on my phone, and I'm going to do 8.57 divided by 1.17, and blow me down, the ratio that I get is 7.33. 7.32, if you want to do that. 7.32, which is pretty darn close to the ratio that Ranty got from his measurements, from his composite. It has to be image.
Is that not less than 7.5 though, Paul?
That we see, that the angular sizes we see in the land match almost perfectly with the angular sizes that we expect to see.
It's a little bit smaller though, isn't it? So we've got a little bit more. You said it was 7.5, now you're saying 7.2, so there's a bit more, which is pretty much exactly what they're saying.
Can we see Ranty?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to share my screen right now. Just give me right, I'm sharing now. Okay.
Oh, they got dropped. Bummer. Hope they
Paul
weren't
asked me to
sniped.
do it. Paul asked me to put a ruler across and do it to 30 to 30 centimeters.
Paul's been kicked, hasn't he?
Has he?
Yeah, Paul's gone.
Oh.
I'm really gutted. If he's sniped, I'll be fuming.
I think he was sniped.
Well, Paul asked me to do, this was the composite of the Isle of Man, and he asked me to put a ruler on the end here, 30, put the, mark it off.
Idiot snipers. You still there?
I'm here,
You won't be.
but I think I'm going and Ranty's been sniped.
I'll have to start a new hangout if you do. In fact, I may as well just do exactly that. We've got 45 minutes left, so I'll just start a new hangout. 2 minutes. Camera on me so you can all see my distressed look as I do this. Right, what I'm going to initially do is share the link on Skype with the people I do have. If I'm sharing the link with you on Skype, please share it with others who are on the Hangout, and then in 5 or 10 minutes I will stick it back in the info box. Joined by Sleeping Warrior. Can I just get a sound check from you, please?
Yeah, man, I'm good.
I'll just transition back to the Hangout. You could share the link with Ranty.
See, this is where it's not easy getting Paul back in because I can't get in touch with Paul. He doesn't have messages on his YouTube page, and he doesn't have him on. He doesn't answer Skype.
It's one of them. I don't blame him, to be perfectly honest. Let's just go back to the Hangout.
Ranty should be on his way in.
Okay, well, you know, thanks to that sniper, after this Hangout's not public at the moment, so if you guys want a couple of minutes, I can't get in touch with Paul. I will stick the link in the Hangout in a couple of minutes' time, but like I say, we've got about...
Well, just give us time to finish this, because we're right on the cusp of proving that...
that's what I'm saying. There's no link publicly available at the moment, thanks to the snipers, the idiots.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so am I sharing now?
You're
Yeah,
sharing,
but
you're
live
on,
yet.
we can hear you, everything's good.
Right, carry on, Ranty, as you were.
Okay, so yeah, we was asked to do it by a ruler. This is the mountain range lined up with a 30. This is the number 4 lined up with Douglas. And this is the start of the ruler, which bypasses the end of the Isle of Man fractionally. Now that's doing it by a ruler. And we've also got to take into account that Google Earth, when we come onto Google Earth, already accounts for curvature. So when we're looking at this landmass, what you're seeing is curving down. So you're actually losing some of the length of the Isle of Man, because it's taken a flat image and it's pasted it over a ball. So even if I reassemble this line here, and I'll move it across ever so slightly. It's probably a little bit too far, but never mind. The point still remains. Let's just put it over there. If they are saying that this is indeed Douglas, well, to the side of the Isle of Man, and this is Douglas, we are looking at elevations here of 16 meters at 50 miles. So it's either we're seeing 16 meters at 50 miles, including 5 meters, 5 meters, 6 meters, 5 meters, we're either seeing all this at 50 miles or we're seeing these mountain ranges in the background that are as high as 600 meters. So they can take the choice, whichever one they want to do.
Ranty, how much land is visible on the evidence that goes beyond that point that you've put in?
Yeah, if you want to bring the
What,
photo
this
back
one
up
here?
one last time, Ranty, then I am going to fire the link out to the audience and stick it in the info box. So you've got about, I don't know, two minutes, two or 3 minutes.
Well, when I measured it using the same calculation that I did before, 30 down to where Douglas is, down to where the end of the Isle of Man is, this number 1, where it starts here, bypasses the edge of the Isle of Man fractionally, which is why I've moved this red line across to say, okay, if you look at an exact line of sight, this is what we're looking at. So they can take the pick. Do they want to say that it's 16 meters at 50 miles? So where's the missing 950 feet of curve?
Ranty, I'm with you. But what
Yeah.
you need to do is show where that post lines up on the evidence to show that the land that goes beyond it is island. So go back to the evidence and get that post that you've put in there to correspond on it. Do you know what I mean?
So yeah, I mean, this post here is already in.
On the evidence.
If I put, hang on, edit, I'll just deselect that and I'll just put one line in and then you can open the Hangout to whoever.
Is it on the, have you put it on, show it on the evidence though?
Yeah, it's what you're asking. It's really difficult because I'm the only one that's presenting all this, and I feel like I've been doing it all day.
Yeah, credit where credit's due, Ranty. It's for you and Paul to be to the same credit to Paul because he's done all this on the fly. All credit to both of you. You more because you've been doing it a longer time, but
Right,
obviously,
so
yes.
Basically, I'm putting this red line in now, which corresponds with a 0 on this image. Where is it?
I think we've got Paul back.
Yeah.
How you doing, Paul?
Yeah, so
Yeah, I had a bit of trouble. Obviously, someone sniped me out of it.
Yeah, we all got sniped.
We all got sniped, mate, not just you.
Yeah. Did you hear what I had to say though about the ratio?
Yeah, but the thing is, I've measured it in centimeters, and then you've changed it and converted it into angular sizes, and I've just said, well, okay, we'll just use a measurement with centimeters, and we'll use measurement with centimeters.
But that's what we're seeing. You gave me that measurement, Ranty.
Yeah, so I just did
that's
it.
That's what we're seeing. The angular distance is what we're seeing.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, I'll bet yours matches up with what I've just done. Look, as you can see, there was the 30 at the start of the mountain. Here we have the number 4 that lines up to Douglas. And here we have the line that I've just put in, which is the end of the landmass that I saw. So we know that the total length that I saw was 30. Douglas sits at 4. This mountain range starts at 30. So it should be exactly the same. This is 1/7 or 7.5 or whatever it is of the distance from there to there. And it actually bypasses the end of the Isle of Man. And if you want to agree that it says, okay, we'll have it that this is the Isle of Man, then you're saying that you're seeing 16 meters at 50 miles. Because it only increases in height when you get to around about here, which is about probably, well, what, 1/20th past Douglas as opposed to 1/7 if you're doing angular sizes. So the choice is yours, which one you want to accept.
Can you show us Ireland on the photo again, Ranty? Can you show us Ireland on the actual...
The point that I'm trying to make
on the photo, on the actual photo.
Own measurement, by your own measurements of the image that was taken, the ratio was 1 to 7.5, which is exactly what the ratio is from Douglas to the left of the Isle of Man and from Douglas to the Bluff.
Yeah,
that's exactly what that ratio is. So it is entirely in the realms of possibility that what you're seeing there is the Isle of Man.
When you just did your
So-
rough guesstimate, though,
Is it
Paul,
not?
hold on,
Paul,
Paul.
listen to what
Paul,
he's saying.
when you did your rough guesstimate, did it not come out to 7.2?
Beg your pardon?
Did it not come out to less?
No.
It did because he.
When we did
We
the
just watched you do it.
when I used Ranty's calculations, the ratio comes out to
7.5, yes, we know all this. But when you roughly
30.
eyeballed it on your circle, it came out to less than that, did it not?
7.5.
So if,
No,
so if I
which
do
is
angular sizes on a calculator, I can do that now.
Did on my circle. Well, the measurement that I did on my circle, it comes out to be 1 to 7.32. But clearly,
Hold on, so that's what
One
I
of the
just said.
measurements I
Hold
took-
on, Paul, don't dance over that. That's exactly what I've just said, and you've said no.
Yeah.
Why
Well,
are you denying
I
this?
want to
This
explain
makes me furious, Paul.
will-
Why did you just
Stop.
say no?
well, I'm going to get furious now too then, Nathan.
Well, you just said no. I
Because I
specifically
clearly
made a point.
said-
You've just agreed with
I
me.
clearly
And then
said,
after
Real quick,
denying
I
it,
said that when I measured,
Hey,
I measured across here, I measured straight across. If I was to measure the distance around that curve, Nathan, the measurement would have
Nice.
been longer and it would
Cool.
have been much closer to 7.5.
you're right. And by the way, go back to that photo where it showed the
Okay.
island was actually floating on air at the end of the photo there.
Can you see?
So you can see that
My-
it's refraction you're looking at anyway.
Can you
We
see
can
my image
stop
now?
pitying
Because
it.
I'm just going to break it down. That this is
Can you
still.
go back to the photo, please, so we can show
no,
exactly what
no,
I
no.
just saw? The
I want to
island was
finish-
floating
I
on
want to
air.
just
Get
hang-
back
I want
away
to-
from it real fast. I felt that. The
Yeah, I
island
just-
was floating
Grim.
on air in the end of your
Let
photo.
Ranty finish.
Yeah, I just want to finish what the angular
On the
sizes.
photo where the island was floating on air that you're talking about right now.
I
There's
just
the
want to
sky
go back to
underneath
the.
island. Go ahead and
I
show
would
that
like to present.
so we can see that the sky is actually in between the bottom of the image and the
Grim,
top. No,
Let him
for a
finish his
fact.
point, please.
Ranty, what you're measuring there is not angular size.
Oh, is it not?
Oh,
So
everybody
if I.
saw it already. I already
It's not
mentioned it in the
angular
chat when it
size.
happened. You can ignore it if you want to.
What
but
you're
look
measuring
at-
is not angular size, Ranty. You're measuring a distance there, a linear distance. If you want to measure
Okay.
angular size, you have to do what I did with the circle. You have to find the angles, not the distance.
He's doing the ratio. He's applying the ratio that you said, Paul. Can you not see that?
Poor Paul's
It's
getting
not the same as what I
those
did.
prisms of the argument, and in fact, it's a friggin' photo anyway. It's a photo of atmospheric refraction, which you can clearly see at the edge of the photo where the island is actually floating in the air.
Grim,
You said
that
it was
was
7. You said it was 7.5 as
Back and look
ratio,
again.
correct? So we
Yep.
have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 broken down on a ruler. Yeah, which is
What
equates
you're
to-
doing there is not the same.
It's exactly the same.
Can't you see that? No, it is
It's
not.
exactly
It
the
is
same.
quite different. If you're claiming that's the same, then you have no understanding
It's
of
exactly
basic
the same.
mathematics.
I
No,
agree
it
with
is
Ranty.
not.
It's exactly the same.
It's not
I
the
agree
same
with Ranty.
because the lines are crossing the ruler at an angle as you go further along.
It's exactly
You
the
are
same.
not measuring angular size. You are not measuring angular size there.
It is
What
exactly
are you
the same.
showing?
All right? You are not measuring angular size there.
Paul, even if let's just say for instance, but I
So wait a
disagree.
minute. So wait a minute. So my ruler calculation when I put this on, this wasn't measuring angular size either. This was measuring it by the ruler.
This was measuring angular size by the
Oh, so-
view that
so-
you
so-
see.
So
That's
this
what the
was
ruler
done
was
by-
doing. Yes. Because
This
that's
is
what
done
you're
by
actually
the
seeing
ruler.
in the camera, Ranty.
No,
That's what you're seeing in the camera.
no.
That
You've
is your
taken-
view.
You have taken a ruler
And
image
now you're claiming
and tried to
that
do
by
the
looking
angular
down from the
size.
top, you're getting the same view. And you're not.
So are we seeing this? Are we seeing this? Can we just get you? Are we seeing this? Are we seeing this 13 meter of elevation from 50 miles? Are we seeing this?
We are.
We are. Right. Awesome.
Well, we must be, mustn't we?
Yes. If this is
So,
what you
back to the
suggest,
original question then,
we're seeing
Paul.
down-
Where
we're seeing
is the
down to
missing
40 feet
200
beyond
metres of
1,050
curvature?
feet of curve.
Yeah, where's the missing 200 metres, Paul, if you've accepted that that's
300
land mass?
meters. 300 meters.
Where's- Well, no,
Nathan.
Paul has got us to say that there's a 100-metre bit, all in that
Yeah,
huge
that's
bit
way
of
over
land.
here.
I know, but
That's-
we'll give him that
that's
and give him
almost-
200 metres and let him account for the minimum amount he has to. 200 metres of missing,
And
Paul.
it only
Minimum.
takes-
Minimum.
And it only takes and it only takes half a degree of refraction to account for that, Nathan.
Oh, we have a calculation for that, Paul. We've already done
prove
that. We've already done that calculation, Paul. Did you not see us? Do you want us to do it again? Maybe a second time for you?
Yeah, I do want to see it
Standard
again. Thanks
refraction,
for welcoming
Nathan.
me to the
Sorry,
show,
I'm on
Nathan.
camera because I
I don't
wanted to
wanna-
introduce
I don't-
Louis,
I
actually.
wanna
I'm
see us
really sorry,
standard
Paul. Really
refraction
sorry. Bear with me,
calculation,
Paul. Bear with me. I just want to introduce... That's why I'm on camera. Hi,
No,
Louis.
you don't
It's
need
good
to
to have you.
introduce me. I just did it myself. Thanks, Nathan.
It's still good to have you here anyway, Louis. Nice to see you.
And yeah, I'd love to see what your curvature calculations look like because, I mean, if you look at the photo, there's quite obviously refraction. It's in
Ranty,
front
show
of the
the ca-
island.
Show the curvature calculation and let's talk through refraction because Paul clearly doesn't understand refraction on his model.
Okay.
I do.
Clearly, Anthony.
So you've already measured the distance. You said it wasn't originally, and when you actually measured it, it did turn out to be 50 miles.
Why do you keep putting 35 feet in when you
How
can
much feet
clearly
would you like me
see?
to- What would you say? 60?
I'd like you to put at least 60 feet in. Yes.
Would you like me to put 80 feet in? Would
Put
that
80
make
feet
you
in.
happy? I'll
Give
put
him-
80 feet in. How's that?
This is
So-
actually looking behind the curve, Paul.
I'll put 80 feet in, and I'll change it to metric so you can see. So that's 253 meters of refracted hidden. And when I go to Google Earth and I look at this, we have an elevation of 11 meters.
So you're not seeing it.
Ranty, give him 100 meters.
No, it's okay.
11
We're getting
meters.
ever closer to what I've said to him about 4 times, which is 200 meters of missing curve, Paul. Where
Yes,
is
missing.
that curve? Where's the curve?
And we're also giving you
Yes, the
height.
curve is that you aren't taking into account non-standard refraction.
Did we
Well,
not
what's
just
the number?
literally do that
Clearly,
10
we
seconds ago?
can-
Are you blind?
we can
Are you
see a
blind?
much
Paul, have you not got your
further
screen on? Are you
with
blind? Are you blind?
And I'll tell you,
We've just
Show your
literally done that for you
picture.
on
Well,
screen
continuous
30
in hiding
seconds
that
ago,
picture.
Paul. We've done it for
Show
you
your
30
picture.
seconds
I'm
ago.
biased
Hold on, I need to establish if Paul has a problem with his eyesight. We've established it 45 seconds ago.
Well, you should be
Yeah,
incredibly
this is
embarrassed then, Nathan,
Oakley,
because
the
they actually
unbiased
do.
moderator.
yeah.
Maybe you'd
No.
like to do the maths for us,
I have to
Paul.
agree with
Maybe,
Bruce.
hold on. Let's see if Paul would like to do the maths for us.
Yeah, I'll
Let's do
stop
a picture
sharing and
first.
you can do the maths. That's fine. That's fine.
Screen's
I'm
on
not
you, Paul.
arguing about that.
You take your
I'm
time,
putting
Paul.
it
The
out
screen's
there.
on you. You show us how we've done the maths wrong. Off you go.
No, I'm
you
not
see that
saying
photo?
that you've done the math wrong.
So we've done the maths correct.
I'm
So
not
let's get
saying
back
you've
to the
done-
same question
I'm not
then,
saying you've
Paul.
done the maths
It's
wrong.
not refraction then,
What I am
Paul. It's
saying
not refraction
is
then,
that
Paul.
the
So
one
where's the
set of
curvature,
mathematics
Paul?
does
If it's not
not-
refraction, what's your next
Where's
excuse?
the
Nathan,
curvature?
Nathan,
What's
you
your
heard the
next
question.
excuse? What's your next excuse? It's not refraction. What's
Nathan,
next?
You heard the question. Let him speak, for
Oh,
Christ's sake.
so
It's all right. You don't need to
so
moderate me,
you're
Louis.
asserting that
It's
it's not
okay,
refraction,
Louis. I'll do as I damn
then
well
you
please.
prove that it's not refraction.
So, where's the
We
curvature?
can clearly
200
see the
meters.
refraction. We can clearly see the refraction effects in the photograph.
We've gone
Right.
back to refraction again.
Clearly.
Haven't we just done this?
That's
What
right.
is this? The third time we're going to do this with the
You're
maths.
so mad and triggered, Nathan. You better calm down, boy. You're gonna lose it right now.
Yeah.
You don't seem
Because
to
if you look
understand
at
the
photo,
difference
you can clearly
between.
see the refraction.
You think
effect.
I'm triggered? I love it, Grim.
Yeah, look
Maybe
at your
Grim
face,
would
smile.
like to give us the maths and explain where the 200 meters of missing curvature is.
Show the photo,
It's
Nathan.
not being
if you're not-
triggered.
Right in front of
It's a
you.
simple
If you're being
question,
honest,
Show
Grim.
the photo.
Show your photo.
Let's have a look at the photo.
It's right in front of you. It's obscuring parts of the island right along
Excuse
the shore.
me, we still
And
haven't
it's
had
amazing to me that
excuse
you
me,
can't
we
see
still
that,
haven't had an
Nathan.
answer from Paul. We have a very specific question on the table, Paul. Where is the 200 meters of
Where
missing
The
And
200
curvature?
meters of missing
And I gave.
curvature.
Do I have to
Smile now,
spell that to you?
Nathan.
IGAVEDTHEANSWER. I gave you the answer. It's in the refraction,
He did
which
too.
we
He
clearly
nailed you
see
with
the
it.
refraction
You
effect
have to admit
in
it.
the photograph.
So let's
Don't
see.
ask me about where
let's see the
is
maths.
again because I gave you
Let's
the answer.
see. Oh, you're just going to give us an ad hoc answer,
I appreciate
just
what
ad
you've done
hoc,
here,
or are you
Paul.
going to show us some maths?
Wait,
Paul?
It's funny, Nathan. All you guys have are ad hoc answers to anything.
Well, now the shoe's on the other
Anything. Like,
foot,
you
Lou.
literally
Oh
put
no,
a
no, no,
ruler
no.
up
Okay,
next to
now
a
let's pass the
photo and
floor
said
to.
that that's measuring
Let's pass the
angular
floor to
size.
Lou. Maybe Lou would like to tell us where the 200 meters of missing curvature is.
It's right in front of you in the photo.
Why don't you show me that photo again, Nathan, so I can tell you exactly where it is?
Let's get
We'll get to you, Grim,
Ranty's
next.
composite photo.
Cameras
which, by
on,
the
Lou.
way,
Let's
Which, by
see.
the way, just because something's composite doesn't mean it's fake. Let's point that out again, because that's hilarious.
Yeah, the same distraction Ron Burgundy, the chat troll, used. Is that your answer? Is that really your distraction answer, Lou? That's pathetic. That's the same answer that Ron Burgundy, the chat troll, gave. So you're going to distract away from my question completely by talking about composite
What was
images.
your question? I can't hear you most of the time.
I'll ask you again, Lou. Really clearly, if Grim will let me, I'll ask you again. Not triggered, nice and calm, just for Lou.
Nice
Where
and calm.
are... Oh, no, that was tenth of a second I got. Where is the 200 meters of missing curvature?
All right.
All
now,
right, I got
again,
your
I'll answer
question.
you.
Got it.
About the
Bam.
photo.
Awesome. It's in the photo right in front of you. It's blocking part of the shoreline. Now, not all of that 200 meters is missing. As Paul pointed out, there's some refraction, which you can see. It's
So can we
evident.
see examples of non-standard refraction, please, Paul?
The same location.
Hang on, I'm working on something
Refraction?
else.
Sure. There's some in
You
this
need to give me
photo. Let's
some
zoom
time.
in
I'm
on it.
working on something else.
There's some non-standard refraction in this photo. Let's zoom in on it.
I'm calculating something else at the moment.
Hiding photo.
As another distraction.
There's another distraction. Yeah, I was just took the words out of my mouth. What about the 200 missing feet? 200
You guys
meters of missing
decide
curvature, Paul?
ad hoc what distractions are. It's hilarious.
I'm not distracted
And
from
that's
anything. I'm going to
actually
keep
how
asking
you
the
undermine
same
our
question.
arguments. You don't address
Same
them.
question
You just-
over and over again
you
until I
just
get an
come up
answer.
with
Maybe we'll
ad
talk
hoc
about
things
composites.
And then say that what we're doing is ad
Yeah,
hoc.
total
It's
fail
really
from
funny.
you, Lou. Total fail. Talked about composites, didn't answer my
photo- the
question.
photo of
Total
the
fail.
topic of
Maybe you'd like to give Grim a
Right, there
chance
you
to
go.
answer.
There you go. One of
Maybe
your
you can
favorite
shut up
ad
long enough
hocs,
to give
Nathan,
Grim a
is to
chance
just
where
say,
you
"Oh,
failed.
You failed. You failed.
Yeah, you
utterly
did.
failed.
Talked about composites rather than answering
My
the
name's
question
Nathan Oakley. Please
of the
share
missing
and
200
subscribe.
meters of curvature.
Photo
Maybe
yet?
Grim would like a chance. Off
We're
you go,
talking
Grim.
about their photo.
Let's see
Not
your
mine
answer,
here.
Grim. What's your answer? Where's the 200 meters of missing
I
curve,
said
Grim?
that I can talk to you about it right now, Nathan.
I didn't hear that, sorry.
I said, show me your photo so I can talk about it right now with you.
Hang on, Nathan, would you present my screen? I'd like to show some examples of.
Oh my God! Let's get an
Yeah.
answer from Grim
So
before
you're
we move
using
on
for
to
your
more
data
ad hoc
all this whole
bullshit.
discussion.
from
I
this
don't know, this is your answer, isn't it?
Louis,
Lou,
oh my
this is
goodness,
your
please,
answer.
I know you
Non-standard refraction. Now we're seeing an
didn't wait
example of that.
to take part in this conversation for a lot longer than you have. So if you could just give me a little bit of time to go over this photo, no, not that photo, not that photo. The photo that we've been going over, this topic of discussion with this whole time since we've been here, all these data points that we've gone over, that photo. Can I please see that photo? Because I have something I'd like to talk about on your photo.
Yeah, bring it up, Grim. Feel free,
Okay,
Grim.
can you get
Present
your
what you
photo out,
like.
please?
Present
I
what
can
you
show
like,
you?
Grim.
All
Present
right.
whatever you want.
Okay, get your photo out so I can show you what you're looking at there.
What, do you want me to wipe your ass as well? Am I your secretary? Have you not got the photograph, Grim? Are you not keeping up with this?
You're not counting in refraction.
You
And
want
I
us to
think
do it
that's
for you, do you,
shame.
Grim?
I think it's disingenuous. And the fact that you won't show the photo, you've been hiding it this entire time. I've been trying to discuss
Been
it
available.
for you.
There's a link in the last debate. Anybody's available to get this. It's out there publicly, Grim. You're just too lazy to do the actual work, and you want us to do it
You're
for you.
wasting our time like this.
Yeah, you're wasting our time, Grim. There's a question on the table that you seem to be distracting from. Where are the 200 meters of missing curvature?
Yeah, he's going to answer, Nathan, if you bring up the photo.
If I bring it up for him, Lou.
I'm directly
What am I,
addressing
secretary?
You being general, you whoever owns the photo, you in this case likely
Now,
renting.
you being Grim, the person who wants to talk
I'm
about the missing
directly-
200 meters of curvature, he can do that. If he's got the photo,
trying to get the photo
available
pulled up,
publicly.
Nathan. It's not really.
addressing the question.
You want us to do it for you, I get it.
Yeah, you guys have the photo. Why wouldn't you?
No,
Other
it's
end-
available,
All right,
publicly
there it is.
available,
All right,
there, ranty,
publicly
sharing. There you go.
available for
Other
the
end-
lazy globers
other
who want us
end.
to do it for
That-
them. This has been publicly available for the last
How are
24
we supposed
hours,
to pull up a
approximately.
photo that we don't have, Nathan?
Oh,
Calm.
oh,
Paul's got it.
Calm down.
Paul's got it.
Never
Paul
mind.
seems to manage it.
Play games. How are we gonna
Paul's
look at
the
a looting
least
photo?
contactable person of all of us. He's managed it.
Go all the way to the
Hang
tip
on.
of the island, so you can look. It's all sky under there. Look at that. That's all sky. Wow.
Wow, that
What's the
really
sky
accounts for 200
doing?
meters of
What's
missing
the sky
curvature,
doing
Grim.
underneath
Good
the mountain?
job. Wow, you bring such a
Sky
lot to
doing
this discussion.
underneath the mountain. It
You're so
must be a refraction.
We've been joined by a new guest, much more important than me rambling at
How
you
is
guys.
the sky
Been joined by
underneath the
Steve.
mountain?
How you doing, Steve? Good to have you here. Can you hear us? You're on mute at the moment.
Sky
Back to
underneath
Steve.
the mountain.
Bear with me, Grim. I'm just trying to introduce our new guest. He's sorting
Go ahead,
out
go all the way to the other side too, and you can see it. The sky's underneath the other side of the mountain too. There you go. Look at that sky underneath the mountain.
Just read out
Aren't they-
that
aren't they
comment
also
from
has the
Riley.
exact
Can
same
anybody
thing, but
explain
you
where the
can't.
200 meters of missing curvature is or not? 200
Yeah, we
meters.
have like 5 times. You just suck.
Yeah, well,
No,
we
you
ever going to
haven't.
get an answer, Lou? Or are we just going to get talked about
I gave you an
composites
answer,
again?
you just
gonna
suck.
tell us about composites again, Lou? Total fail.
They're fine. Composites are fine.
You realize
It doesn't
you're
mean a
missing.
photo's fake. So like, just because space photos from NASA
realize
are
you kinda
composites
just lost
doesn't mean they're
Disaccounting for
fake
the
either.
200 meters of missing
I mean,
curvature, Lou, or not?
Continue with the
Oh, I gave you that
attitude.
answer like
Why
5
is it?
times. You just suck.
Yeah, you said refraction, and then we showed you how the maths doesn't account for that.
And
Lou.
then I also
Yeah, being sniped. Clearly, somebody doesn't like the fact there's 200 meters of missing curvature. What a shame. There is. Regardless of which way you dice it, we're either looking at 2 miles or 200 meters of missing curvature. How long we got left? Should I start a third hangout? I think I will. Got 20 minutes left. Best debate to date. Excellent. Sorry about the 2-minute delay while I wait for the Google Plus page. Oh, there we go, it's loaded. Do the little sniper dance. Right. Big shout out to all of you who've shared this show. 108 people watching. Fantastic for one of these morning shows. Yet again, the Skype people get the link first. Get a sound check from you, please, Sleeping Warrior.
Yeah, man, I'm good.
Let's stick the link in a few more places on Skype, and then I will stick it in the chat in again about 5 minutes. We've got about 18 minutes left on this stream, so if you want to share it with Ranty,
I'll give it to Ranty, and hopefully he'll follow straight in. now that I've got a chance to actually speak, I'll just address Paul. Paul, if you're listening, I think Ranty was making the exact same point that you were making, and when you countered and said no, Ranty was correctly pointing out that you took it back to a 2-dimensional image in the first place. So if it's wrong that Ranty applies a 2-dimensional thing in the second place, then it's wrong that you did it in the first place. In any event, it matched your observation, but showed that the land that we were seeing is either island or Isle of Man, but it's only 20 meters tall. That is a problem. Whether you accept it or not is up to you. But to argue that non-standard refraction is what we're seeing, I'm going to show you by referencing my most recent video an example of non-standard refraction, because it appears to be lost on you, Paul. This is evidence of non-standard refraction. We see upside down things, we see shimmering things in the background that are not there. This is not what we're seeing in the evidence. So to argue non-standard refraction is simply a cop-out, and it's a narrative that you're pushing because you refuse to accept the evidence, which is cognitive dissonance, Paul. You can't get past this. Non-standard refraction is not what we are seeing. We are seeing land. We're not seeing clouds. We're not seeing anything unusual. We are seeing land, and it's clear land. So the problem you've got is there is no curve. There is no curve. It's flat. The only thing that stops us from seeing what we normally see is the atmosphere. It's moisture. It's effectively like looking through a swimming pool when you look great distances, because you're looking through moisture, vapor. That's what we're looking at.
Yeah, the further you look, the more moisture you have to look through. So when you're looking at Ireland in the far distance, as I would contest that it is, what you're having to look through is a huge amount of atmosphere, and that's when you do get slight atmospheric effects, even on the clearest of clear days at a great distance, which is exactly what we see.
Which is why I've put the word negligible on the top, because it's so small or unimportant as to not be worth considering insignificant. But Paul argues that it's not standard refraction, that we've given him a massive amount of adjustment for. He's arguing it's non-standard refraction. But again, I remind myself of what examples of non-standard refraction are to see whether Paul's being honest, or is he simply using in this. Is Paul being honest, or is he simply using it as an excuse to hide the lack of curvature? This is non-standard refraction, Paul. We're not seeing this. So it's not tenable for you to argue your position because it's simply not consistent with it. And you know this. We all know this. Unless you're new to the debate and you've not been in it that long, in which case you could possibly get away with recklessness. But everybody knows that this is not non-standard refraction. And as it says, the following video can only be described as non-standard refraction by a moron simply arguing to protect his comfort blanket, which is a little spinning ball Earth. We're looking at standard refraction only, and its effects are negligible. The Earth is flat, and if it isn't flat, it's much, 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 much bigger than what they tell us. Ranty, have you got any closing comments?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just present for a moment and then just say a little bit, and then I'll end up for today. Right, so I'm just going to show. Just put this up here. I'm going to go to my Google Earth, and I'm going to focus on these 3 buildings here that are in the line. Building 1, 2, and 3 that I actually have identified on this image, which is here. Now, as you can you see how high they are at 1, 2, and 3 above the waterline? They're almost at the top of the hill.
I'd say 50 meters.
Easily. You know, the simple fact is that these are at an elevation of 106 meters, and the distance to where the location was, measurements was 37.9 miles. Okay, and I put that in the curvature calculator. Refracted hidden should be 158 meters, right? So that's how it should be, 158 meters. That's at 105. But if we also look at that, say, if I go back to the image and I look at the image, you can see how high they are on this ridge. You know, they are incredibly high, not even close to being beyond the curve. You know, already the curvature calculator says it should be down here.
You know what's missing from the photo?
What's
the
that?
Shore.
Would you like me to have tried to have got some skinny dippers there as well, perhaps?
Yeah, but the shoreline, you can see that.
No, you wouldn't be able to see skinny dippers. Those are too small. But you should be able to make out specific details on the shore, but you can't because it's behind the curvature.
It's specific buildings and in locations.
No, those are dots. Those are dots. All right.
They're just dots.
Those are barely larger than a pixel.
Ranty?
Right? They are dots on.
When you say skinny dippers, are you being serious, or like you're trying to make a joke? You understand that a human on this size scale is going to be smaller than a pixel.
But the thing is, these aren't images. This is a video. If I go through the video, you'll see that they're not really dots. They are actually physical objects that are there.
In fact, go to the right part of the video then.
If you look at this here,
don't get me wrong, Ranty. I understand that physical dots in a photo constitute physical objects. I understand that.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Physical objects, then. These physical objects are indeed the buildings.
Oh my God! I know, Ranty.
Thank you. So what I'm saying is, so if we're agreeing on that and we look at this image here.
No, we're not agreeing. We're not agreeing. We agree that they're physical objects. That's not very much to agree on. Let's try and agree that the shore and probably between 100 and 200 meters of it are being obscured. Let's try and get to that agreement.
Meters? Are you joking?
Okay.
Between 1 and 200 meters are being obscured.
Bad.
Absolutely.
But I'm back and I'm bad.
Yeah.
Right. Can you share my screen?
Let's get Paul's screen.
I want to bring up a really, really, really relevant question here. Okay. I've done. No, let me talk, please. I've done some angular size calculations.
You don't even know what angular size is.
Calm down.
Island with peaks as high as 700 metres at 256 kilometres away have an angular size of 0.156 degrees. 82 kilometres away to that left-hand side of the Isle of Man, if we take the highest point at that little point there, about 100 metres, that has an angular size of 0.06 degrees. My question to you is, if you're claiming to be able to see Ireland from the Isle of Man, then why aren't we seeing a whole bucket load more of Ireland? Because we've got all of this area out here that we then should be able to see. We've got mountains that extend all the way out here. And yet you're only seeing a little bit past the left-hand edge of the Isle of Man.
Because that's just
why aren't we seeing a bucket load more?
So are you saying that we are seeing...
Does the dirty air hide? Does the dirty air hide all the rest of Ireland as well?
So where's the missing 300?
Why is it that we only see? Why is it that we only see the amount that matches with what we would expect to see the amount of the Isle of Man? Oh, it conveniently matches that, but we don't see all the rest of these mountains.
So if you're saying that that's the Isle of Man, if you're saying that's the Isle of Man, you're basically agreeing that the Earth is flat.
Yeah.
Because you're seeing down to 11 meters, 50 miles away.
Ranty, if the Earth was
flat,
why would
the Earth was flat, Ranty? Because if I agreed that the Earth was flat, Randy, I would say that we would be able to see Ireland, and we can't.
And we'd also be able to see
the rest of
Wicklow.
Ireland around here. Why would I say that the Earth is flat?
So yeah, I'll just summarize it for the audience again, just so they get it. There's either two choices. One is we are seeing Ireland with 2 miles of missing curvature, or 2, we are seeing the tip of the Isle of Man with 200 meters minimum of missing curvature. Those are your two choices. If you're saying it's the Isle of Man, Paul, then where's the 200 meters of curvature?
What about
Nathan? Where are the 700 meter high mountains that we could see on a flat Earth? Right. Where
what about
the 700 meter high mountains, Nathan?
So are you arguing about what you can't see and what you can see?
Yeah, he's just trying to distract by saying we're not seeing enough of Ireland, rather than accounting for what we can see. We have got photographs.
See any of that, Nathan?
We see land.
Any of that island?
We see land. It's only one of two things. It's either the Isle of Man or Ireland. In both instances, you globers are screwed.
No, we're not. Not at all. Screwed. I mean, that's kind of a funny way to look at it. First of all, there is curvature, and you can tell because you can't see all of the Isle of Man. And then there's also curvature with Ireland, and you can tell because you can't see any of Ireland.
Don't think you get it. He's claiming Paul is arguing that we can see it. Paul is arguing that it is the Isle of Man. Don't you get that? Don't you understand that?
What?
Luke, you don't seem to understand what's being argued here.
Right-hand side of the Isle of Man that we can't see either, Nathan.
Oh, it's now we're going to the right-hand side. Again, distracting from what we can see and the missing 200 meters of curvature.
Distracting. Oh, yeah, that's what
you mimic me. That's the best you can do. The best you can do is mimic me, rather than address the 200 meters of missing curvature, Lou. All you can do is mimic me. That's the best you can do. It's pathetic. Lou, it's pathetic.
I can't help you with that. I've pointed out the curvature to you every single time.
These guys
you can't see the shore.
Experiments. They go out and do experiments. You guys should be applauding them. You should be saying, "Well done, lads. This is a fantastic."
Well done. You drew some lines on a map. It's hardly an experiment.
Well done.
Doing here.
You could take hardly an Isle of Man.
Why it's not.
So let's just get some consensus from the ballers. What's the land in that photo? What's the land? Paul, what's the land in the photograph?
Beg your pardon?
What land is in the photograph?
Is there curvature there? Let's get some consensus from the Gladys.
Paul, why are you talking over Paul?
It's entirely possible that what you're seeing is the entirety of the Isle of Man.
Okay, Paul, we have conceded that it's the Isle of Man. Now tell us why there is 200 meters of missing curvature.
No, I'm saying that it's possible that you're seeing the Isle of Man.
All right, what's the other possibility? Look at that. You've got a yellow line on screen, Paul. Is it the tip of the Isle of Man, or what's the other possibility?
What do you mean?
Look at your line, the yellow line on screen with a little thumbtack on England. See where that line's pointing to? It's either the tip of the island, or what's the other choice?
It's either the tip of Ireland Tip of the Isle of Man or its island. And
Right.
yes,
Those are your
if
two
it was
choices.
island,
Let's lower your volume and give it to the audience again. It's either the tip of the Isle of Man or island. If it's the tip of the Isle of Man, we are missing 200 metres of curvature. Or if it's island, we're missing 2 miles.
You've got
the
how
island.
can we see
between.
either or? Why are you not
Therefore, I
answering that?
conclude that it is not island.
So it's the Isle of
Why
Man.
can we see either or?
So is it the Isle of Man then, Paul?
Yes.
Right, so where's the 200 metres of missing curvature, Paul?
Obscuring the shoreline.
No.
Just say I don't
We
know.
are
I don't-
seeing... what don't you get about this, Lou? Paul has just said it is Isle of Man that we are seeing. That's the land.
Yeah,
It is
I know,
20
Nathan.
metres above sea
And I
level.
am
Not
that.
even sure.
Therefore,
if
we're
the-
missing
we are
200
sitting
metres of
between-
curvature.
I am
It's there.
It's like
we
you
are
can caught
actually
a stealing
seeing
or something,
complete
guys.
left-hand
Just admit
side.
it. Just applaud him. Congratulate.
I am not even.
Prove that you can see things that's nothing to do with curvature. You can see either the island or
That's
the
not.
Isle of
That's
Man.
not
Either way,
impressive, Spurs.
either way, it
It's-
doesn't
I'm
matter.
not even sure.
Either way,
I'm not even
there
convinced
is
that
missing
we're seeing
curvature.
the left-hand
So
side
just
of the
congratulate
Isle of
him.
Man.
While
So it's
Google's
island
flat
then.
Earth,
I
now you
am
don't
not
have to,
even saying-
So 2 miles. Where's the 2 miles of missing curvature then?
Spurs,
Isle of Man.
there's nothing really applaudable here. And as Anthony already said, he went on vacation, and that's how he got this photo.
clearly we see the Isle of Man.
Clearly. What do we see? What do we clearly
All Lou's
see?
got is mimicry because he has no accounting for the
Yeah,
problem
it's a
of
lot of
2
fun.
miles or
You're
200
experiencing
metres of
what we're
missing
seeing right
curvature.
out to
So
that
all he can do is
peninsula.
mimic
We
people.
may not even be seeing right out to the
I mean,
edge of that peninsula of the
I
Isle of
told
Man.
you every time you're like, where's the missing curvature? Where is the
Where is
missing
it?
curvature?
Where is it?
I've told you every time. It's obscuring the shore.
No, we are seeing land. That's the point. You're not
No,
getting
yeah,
it too
yeah, you're
dumb
seeing
to get the
land.
Paul
We're
saying
not
it's the Isle of
landing.
Man.
Nathan,
There's only two
you're
choices.
not
Let's give it
seeing
again.
the
Let's turn you
shore.
all
You
down
are
and give it
not.
just for Lou. There's only two choices. Look at the yellow line that Paul has put on his screen. Can you see that, Lou? There's two options. One, it is Southern Ireland. Two, it is the Isle of Man. That is what we are seeing. We are seeing land. It is not being obscured. We are seeing it. Now, if it is Ireland, we are missing 2 miles of curvature. If we are seeing the Isle of Man, we are missing 200 metres of curvature. Now, over to you to mimic me and Spurs, because it's the best
It's not
you
a
can
big
do.
deal. Nathan, relax. Yeah, you can see land, but you cannot see all the way down to the shoreline,
Okay, we
which is
agreed.
where the
Agreed.
curvature is.
Agreed.
Right? You're asking
Agreed.
where's the missing curvature? Well, it's the
Agreed.
first thing you see in the photo.
Right,
It's
we've got 20
obscuring
metres of land
lots
visible.
Of the
What
island.
you don't
20
agree with
metres,
is
you're
don't
saying
see
there's
any
200
shore.
metres
You don't
missing
see
in that
any shore.
20? Nonsense.
Now,
That's
if
what
you
you're
were,
getting.
and I brought this up yesterday, Nathan, if you were to bring a camera back to where Anthony was,
We've
and
done
just
it already.
film a ferry, just film a boat.
And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to our live audience for joining us on this debate. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the panelists and snipers for making this debate possible. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.